Django. Django.
Enter the Lab, episode number 12, Elvis, Escobar, Fort Sama. We're back. You know, we had a pretty eventful weekend more in the last 24, 48, 72 hours with UFC. We talked a little bit about it last week. Batman movie reviews coming out. I'm actually going to see it tomorrow matinee. Yeah, so we had some good wrestling. Gas prices are up. Definitely get into that. People fucking, that's now officially a bill. And just some little other movie things, you know, people shooting people dying, people betting on things they shouldn't be getting into. But what's going on, Fort Sama?
Shit, man, you know, just another week. Weekend was good. A lot of stuff, a lot of sports. I had a good time, man. You know, just chill by the pool yesterday. Had a little bit of tequila. Nothing crazy, you know, but
Cheap brand, what you get? The $12 bottle, $20. What's that price range looking like?
No. For tequila, lately I've been doing Terramana. Got to support, you know, my boy The Rock, bro. Like my boy Berto was talking about get Michael Jordan shit. Man, fuck, Jordan rich enough already.
What brand is that? First of all, everybody's got a tequila brand, right? Like everybody's got a podcast. Everybody has a tequila brand.
Yeah, no, his it's called Sincoro. So supposedly he's got like 3 different ones. He's got the white, or the silver or whatever, and then he's got the reposado, and he's got like an anejo, which is like $100-something, bro. It don't matter how much money I'm making, I'm not buying a liquor bottle for over $100. Like, it's the same shit, to be honest. And Michael Jordan rich enough already, dog. Like, I don't need to be buying that shit for him. Like, but the Rock's tequila, man, it's smooth. You know, just mix it in with a little bit of lemonade, and you good. Plus, tequila's good. It's not it's the only liquor that's not a what's the word I'm looking for?
I know a word, but I'm about to say
depressant. Yeah.
I was gonna say another word to describe kind of on the same way, but I was gonna mix it up with another word that politically we might be getting canceled off YouTube, and you know, I digress. But
hey man, if you get canceled, you're doing something right. So.
Actually, you're right. We got to start, you know, controversing this Enter the Lab up a little bit. We've been too squeaky clean. We haven't gotten any complaints. I haven't got a text from family or friends like, "Yo, why'd you say that?" We
support Joe Rogan.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but yeah, as a newly tequila fan, I've tried everything in the price range from $18 to $26, and you know, if you're in that price range, everything tastes the same for the most part. No hangovers. I love it. I've gotten bad hangovers over the last couple of days from going back to rum. I think I got to stick to tequila and wine. That's kind of my new move.
I went out for a birthday.
And of course, BR, Billionaires Row.
Always. Yeah, that's a given. That's a given that we don't got to worry about that. But yeah, I went out for a birthday the other day, like a few weeks back, and like for whatever reason, I mixed in some Jameson. And the next day, man, it was rough. I was just in bed.
Did you mix it with something like Jameson ginger ale or something like that?
No, I think it was just shots, if I remember correctly. Yeah. So
it depends, man. The body's every human body's different, and I've learned as you get older, because when you're younger, you recover faster. So as you're young, as you get older, you have to figure out what does good for you, whether it's the liquor itself, whether it's what you're chasing it with whether you have to eat more, drink more water. So it's like it's a chemical scientific situation for everybody involved. So I figured out mine. Hopefully everybody out there listening figure out yours. Let us know.
Drink responsibly.
If you got any, please let us know if you got tips and tricks, because every year it gets harder and harder for my body to recover. But speaking of body to recover and bodies taking some knockouts and some beatings, UFC 272 was this weekend. You had some picks off the record Fort David, he had 10 picks from the undercard. Now they're doing
6-4.
like early prelims. They're doing prelims.
Yeah.
They're doing main card. So
Hey,
they got a
man,
lot of fights for
they're
these.
doing it right.
Yeah, you
They
gotta
got to
love.
market that shit. So
You gotta love it. So, what did you kind of see? What's your feedback about some of the key matches for the UFC people that watch out there? Fort David went, 6-4 out of 10, which is
yeah,
very solid. A
very
couple close
solid.
ones in there. So, what was your feedback from this weekend?
I mean, I'll get right to it. Just the main event, because that's probably what everyone wants to hear. Probably what most people tuned in for. It was a good fight overall. I definitely thought it would go the distance, just based on how Kobe fights and how Masvidal fights. I was a little disappointed on. He said it himself. He came out flat. Masvidal came out flat, and Kobe just did what he's best at, just taking the fight to the ground, wrestling, and just dominating on the ground. And he made it so tough for Jorge to get back up every single time. And dude, that shit's brutal, bro. Like, just getting wrestled on the ground and against the fence, and you have another grown man on you, just like. And the craziest thing to me about it was Kobe would have him on his, like, he would have his back to him, and then he would go for like the choke, but like then get away from it and then come back to it, kind of like he was like trying to fuck with Jorge's head to see if he was really gonna go for it or not. And like, I haven't really seen that, and that must have definitely affected him. Like, Jorge was probably just waiting for the rear naked, and it was just Kobe's good, man, on the ground. He gets a lot of shit just because of his persona and what he does outside of the octagon. But I mean, we talked about it and we said it numerous times. That's you got to sell yourself. Like, it's tough to make money in that, and you're gonna make money with co-main events and main events, and he's doing it, I guess, the right way. Like, because in fighting sports and MMA and boxing, like, just you can be loved, and that's great, but if you're hated, it's just as great, because people are going to tune in regardless. So his whole like MAGA stuff and just his whole thing, that's good for him as an athlete and getting money. So I'm for
it's a
it,
part of
but
his brand.
yeah, that that fight was. There were a few moments where I thought that Jorge could have turned it around, especially in the fourth round. He had a nice counter right hook. He had Kobe stumbling, and Kobe kind of smiled at him, but he just had no gas to go any further with that. Because, bro, people don't understand, like, that cardio, bro. You got to be top notch in physical shape to wrestle with another grown man for 15 to 25 minutes in that kind of stuff. And it's brutal, bro. It's a brutal sport. You got to really practice. You got to really train and spar, and it's not easy. It's not easy, man.
Sure.
So kudos to just everybody that does that and trains and spars and shit like that, because it's not pretty. It's not pretty.
For sure. It's the lifespan in that, we talk about football has a short lifespan. That is a whole nother beast, and very similar in that way. But yeah, I knew if it was gonna go more than 2 rounds, it was gonna be Kobe's fight. Obviously, he's been the fighter that could go 5, take beatings, but also more of a wrestling. Obviously, Jorge said that, his wrestling wasn't there. It's pretty clean, pretty, you could judge it 5 out of 5 for Kobe or 4 out of 5 for Kobe. I don't think Jorge won more than 1. So pretty clean, pretty straightforward, honest. There was no controversy there. Obviously, we're going to review UFC, but we do have a guest coming on the podcast. First time in the lab. Long time listener, long time friend of myself. He'll hop on in a little bit, but we just want to cover a couple of topics, get him set up. But what other fights stood out to you? I'm looking at the card. Obviously, it was a catch weight. Dos Anjos, and so talk to me about
that
it.
one, man. RDA, Rafael Dos Anjos, and Moicano, bro. That fight was
a total different domination fight, right? It went from
that was So that should have been a 3-round fight. It was a 5-round fight because that was supposed to be the main event last week. But some stuff happened and they moved it to this week. And Moicano picked that up on 5 days notice. Like he just
That's
fought.
crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. So even picking that fight up on 5 days notice, fighting 3 rounds is tough. Going into 5 rounds against the
They almost
former
stopped it
champ.
too. For people that don't realize or who may have
Yeah,
watched it, it's the guy with the eye busted open, the leaking the whole
yeah,
from what second or third round on. Left eye was
it was tough. Yeah,
done. I don't know how
even
he saw out of
they
it.
they brought the doctors out twice just to see if he could see out of that eye, and I'm indifferent about that because, dude, all right, you got your respect. Everybody knows you got heart. No one's gonna tell you different. No one's gonna tell you that you didn't show up. You just showing up on 5 days notice, you already got my respect and anybody that watches the UFC's respect. So the fact that Moicano was able to stay in there, that's tough. But like at some point, like your trainers and your coaches and your corner has to know, like, bro, like enough is enough. Like you're already getting banged up, and now you're like taking stuff that could be damaging for the future and your health going on later in your career and just in your personal life. Dude was getting
Mm-hmm.
hit, and like you could kind of see it like at the end of the 4th round and in the 5th round, Dos Anjos kind of was laying back, and the ref told him Moicano at the beginning of the 5th round, he's like, "Yo, you got 30 seconds. Show me something different,
Yeah, I
and
was hearing that.
you keep
Yeah.
going." So, shout out Mark Goddard for that. But dude, he really showed up Moicano. Like that was impressive in its own right. And I mean, he deserves. He's going to get in a shot, and he's a heck of a fighter. Both of them are fighters. I'm excited to see who Dos Anjos fights next because he already had a belt, and he wants to get back up there and get another one. Them Brazilian boys run MMA.
Yeah,
It's them and them Dagestani boys, bro. Like
for
no
sure.
one wants to fuck
Right.
with them dudes. Like
Yeah,
it's
it's like the
crazy.
only. It seems like it's the only thing in Russia that's going, on their side
Yeah,
at this point, where it is UFC fighting. But yeah, the fact that you could lose a fight and still win, quote unquote, for the long term, where he'll get another opportunity, or maybe get a
yeah,
rematch. There's wins and losses in boxing and UFC, especially when
yeah,
situations are short notice or you know depends on the variables that take place. But it was great for him to show. I didn't know the story leading up to it, didn't know any of that he told me, and I learned about it right after, and I grew more
yeah,
respect for the fight even more. So that was obviously the Covington. I just checked. The Masvidal was a decision, unanimous. So it was
yeah.
5-5. The judges had it 5 out of 5, and then Dos Anjos was 5 out of 5,
Yeah,
unanimous. And then
dominant.
the other fight, Bryce Mitchell, I know you hyped up. That was
Yes,
three
bro.
rounds decision. Yeah.
He won. One of the judges had it 30-25, and that's crazy. I heard that. I had to take a double check. I was like, I had to go back. I was like 30-25 in 3 rounds. I even texted my brother.
Yeah, that means
One was
I don't remember that fight too much. I think a lot was going on at the house I was at, the
yeah,
party I was at. So
one was 30-25, and the other was 30-26.
yeah,
He broke
domination
his
in three
yeah,
rounds. So that means
straight
so they had
domination,
rounds that he won 10-8,
like
right?
10-8.
If your
Yeah,
math is correct.
yeah. So pretty much he broke his hand last time, and he was out for a year, and he just came in and dude, he's got one of the 2 twister submissions in UFC history, which is a crazy sub.
hmm
He just really knows what to do on the ground. Like it's crazy. Like fighting another grown man and they're just on top of you, pause the whole time. Like I don't want that. Like that is not something that is fun. It doesn't matter what the case is. And Edson Barbosa is no scrub. Edson Barbosa's been around for a while. He's a good fighter. And the fact that Bryce Mitchell was able to just literally like dominate him for 3 rounds, like he just kept going straight to the ground, and it was ugly. And shout out to him because he said he was going to donate 45K to charity, and about time Dana White stepped up and he was like, "Nah, don't put your money into that. I got it. I'll cover it." So that's pretty cool. But he's 15-1 now, 9 by submission. That's pretty crazy. He's he's good for the UFC. His nickname is Thug Nasty. He wears camo shorts.
He don't even look like a threat.
Yeah.
You look at his cover picture, like his default pic, and like
Yeah.
blue-eyed, like kind of brownish, like
Yeah,
dark
he's just a
hair,
country
clean
boy
look. Yeah,
from
he don't
Arkansas,
look
but
threatening compared to all these other dudes I have pulled up.
he be getting down, and he's going to be fun to watch. I'm definitely going to be tuned into his fights, and if everything goes right for him, he deserves a shot at the title. But we'll see what happens, because in the UFC, bro, it's short. Your career is short, like you
For
said, and
sure.
any little thing can really mess you up. So just it for me right now. That's my favorite sport. That's what I tune into the most, because it's so emotional, bro. Like that
Yep.
shit is so crazy. Like anything
And
can
it's
happen.
it's every week, every month. It has a lot of drama, just as much as any other sport or any other, even like WWE. It's like it's really real, off, in and outside, and it feels like they do a great job, promoting and production and all that.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a phenomenal
It's a
franchise
great
and
product.
company. Yeah,
Great
great
product.
product.
They really know what they're doing out there.
And then the last two, Holland, who's always a show. He's always fun to watch. Obviously, the meme of him
Yeah.
being in a
With the
headlock.
thumbs up.
I'm sure most people have seen it on stories. A dude in a headlock got the thumbs up. I don't know if you could pull it up real quick while I talk about the other fight or the other situation. But Holland obviously is a showboat. He loves to talk while he fights. I didn't realize it until it was like a round in that he was the guy that I've seen before. He's a great time. He's somebody that when he's on, fighting, you want to watch. That was a second round TKO.
Yeah, right after, like
Ended pretty
he came out, and came out pretty quick and ended that fight. Buddy with the thumbs up. He's like, I'm here. I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm
so
good.
people
So
on YouTube were showing the picture. It's basically him in a chokehold at the end of the first round. It looks like he has it in to the general
looks like
fan,
it.
but
Yeah,
he doesn't have it fully under the neck, and he knows. And the round's about to end. I'm sure he and talked to his corner, and he's got a thumbs up. And it's
that
I
was
seen
good.
some
Yeah,
people put it up as like a Monday morning mood, like how you doing after this weekend. That was funny. And then the first one of the main card or what have you is Greg Hardy got his butt beat first round.
good.
TKO. It seems like that this career in the UFC is short lived. It seems like he's got he's got a disqualification. He's got a bunch of knockouts in his favor, and then he got a bunch of knockouts in not his favor. So.
Oh, that dude that he fought, Sergey Spivak, he's strong as fuck.
He sounds
Because
tough without even having to look at him. You got a name like that.
Greg Hardy is a big man. He's a big man. Like he was
former what D lineman.
Yeah, he was probably like 280, 290, like going into that fight, and he was picking Greg Hardy up and throwing him down like it was nothing.
Well, Greg Hardy's the former football player. Let me just say it for the record. Yeah.
So I'm glad he got knocked out. He likes to hit women and shit like that, and I don't fuck with that stuff. So it's not so easy when it's a grown man fighting you. So I hope he don't get another contract. He don't deserve it. He just gets knocked out. Tai Tuivasa beat his ass. He got his ass beat again. He just needs to. I don't even know. I wish that dude no success, and that doesn't really ever come out of my mouth. So
yeah, for real, right? Like
I don't like Greg Hardy, man.
You don't hear that too much. Yeah. So that's UFC 272. Glad we spent a few minutes on it because we hyped it up last week. Overall, I would say expectations going in. It was overall, I wouldn't say disappointing, but I thought it was going to be a 8.5, 9 out of 10. I watched most of it, if not all of it. Was sipping, was drunk, having good conversations during, but it wasn't what I thought it would be. So it was like more like a 7.5 for me as far as an overall experience. Won't get technical or detailed. It's more of just a vibe. When you watch a pay-per-view and if it catches your attention a lot, that means something's going on. But for the most part, it was good, but wasn't as great as I thought it would be. And then a couple little small things before we get our guest on that we'll mention is we got in sports, we have Aaron Rodgers. Looks like he's going to make his decision tomorrow. He was leaving his decision for as late as possible because they have to do franchise tags for most of these NFL teams, if not all of them. So there's obviously, budgeting and salary cap things that he needs to let the team know before they start signing people or what have you. So we're excited to see, if we were recording this tomorrow, we'd have, most of that probably episode filled with Aaron Rodgers. But we'll see next episode for 13 what he signed. Ironically, Aaron Rodgers rocks the number 12. So we'll see what number 12 or what color scheme number 12 he'll be rocking. I think my pick is that he comes back to the Green Bay Packers. The second one would be for me is Denver Broncos. And the third one would probably be Pittsburgh, maybe, if I just had to name a third. Right. I don't know what your rankings are. Do a top three. What you think from number 1 to 3?
Probably go back to Green Bay 1, Steelers 2, and Broncos 3. The thing with that for me is, man, like Green Bay is nothing's easy in the National Football League. Nothing is easy any given Sunday. But the best and easiest path for him to get back to the playoffs and the Super Bowl is staying in Green Bay. Because you go to the Steelers, you got to play against a team that just got to the Super Bowl, the Bengals, who are only going to get better. You got to play against the Ravens, who you got Lamar out there coming back healthy, hopefully, and that defense is no joke. And then the Browns, that D line, come on, bruh. And you go to the Broncos, AFC West. You got the Chargers, you got the Raiders, and you got the Chiefs. Like, bro. Okay. So I don't know why he would do that to himself this late in his career, unless he just wants to get paid and whatever team wants to give him the most. But I would stick in Green Bay. I mean, that's where you've been your whole career, unless he wants to change the scenery, whatever. But for him to get back to, hopefully a Super Bowl, I think the easiest chance would be staying in Green Bay. But I don't know what goes on through his head. So,
yeah, no, 100%. Nobody does. I think he's one of one in that respect. Where I mentioned it on this podcast when he goes on Pat McAfee. It's the first time the media and fans have seen kind of what makes him tick and what goes on in his head, and that's in a comfortable setting. And so we all don't really know. And I think he could go either way. I think he could be, hey, this is the end of my career. I want to make a lot of money because I'm only going to play for 2 more, and I want to retire on top knowing I got paid the most. Or I feel like he could do the most unselfish thing, is go to a team that wants to win and come up. But I know if he does play, he wants a Super Bowl. That's priority number 1, I think, if it's not money, right? So it's either get the bag and the rest will come for him, or by all means win a Super Bowl. And I think in Green Bay, he's by all means, he could win a Super Bowl there in the next couple of years. So I should have probably mentioned this before we got to NFL or Aaron Rodgers, but Cain Velasquez, former UFC fighter. He when the charges or the news came out that he attempted murder, tried to shoot somebody. Obviously, the details didn't come out. Then it comes out later that turns out the person he went to shoot, obviously, like I said, Cain Velasquez, former UFC. Was he a heavyweight champion at any point? I know he fought Brock Lesnar. Had a lot of great fights. Had a good run.
Yeah, I think he is a former champ.
Okay, I'll say former champ till you prove otherwise. So basically, he's, he got a charge for attempted murder, and at this point, you're like, before you hear the details,
yeah, 2-time heavyweight champ.
Okay, so he's legit, obviously. And this is before I started watching. So when you see the news, you're like, what the fuck? Did dude go crazy? Because a lot of these dudes that play NFL or play in the NFL or live the life of combat sports, they kind of go crazy from getting their brains bashed in, which, I don't justify it, but it's the realism of the situation. But then you find out a day or two later, after we recorded episode 11, more news came out on it. It turned out to be the person that he attempted to murder was somebody that molested sexually or some type of way, not sure of those details, but of somebody in his family, and that's why he was doing such act. I don't know if you know more than me, but a lot of people. I'm never I'm never the person that says free somebody, because at the end of the day, if they committed a crime, they probably should go to jail. Like, I get the whole mentality of if that was my daughter, I would have killed him. Well, sir, yes, you would have killed him
Easy
and
to
you
say
would
that,
be going 25 to life. So
right?
just like I would be saying good for you for killing that person that did something to your family member, I'd also be saying probably good that you're probably going to jail, because you can't just go out and murder people because you think they did something, or
Not a
if they even did.
vigilante.
So
Can't
there's
take
controversy. Yeah, you can't be a vigilante. That's not how society works. And maybe in 2,000 years ago, you would have got away with it, maybe even 200 years ago. But we live in a world where if somebody does something wrong, hopefully it works out. I've never been in that situation before, so I'm speaking out of my ass, but I'm not somebody that says free somebody when they committed a real crime that is proven. So what's your take on the whole thing?
Shit, man, it's tough to say because you can't. It's easy to say, yeah, if it was me, if it was my kid, anyone in my family, whatever. People say that shit all the time, but he got denied bail for
So that
whatever
lets you know
reason.
how serious it is, though.
Yeah,
That lets you
yeah,
know it's not like one of those, oh, all right, we forgive you. You were a
yeah.
vigilante.
The judge said the risk is too great and extreme recklessness. His next court date is April 12th. He's he's probably gonna go to prison just because it's in California.
I need to cut you off as well, that I found out today. The reason why I said what I just did, just in case you're listening and you say, oh, that's fucked up. Like, what are you not on his side? First of all, I am on his side. It's a fucking crazy thing that happened to a child. Obviously, I'm on one side. But what turns out to happen is the attempted murder, the trying to shoot the guy that allegedly did something, he actually wounded another person. Actually shot. He's not the other person that I don't know if they had to do with the crime or not, the original crime, or was an innocent bystander. Someone else got shot in the situation. So, like, let's be fucking honest here. So imagine you're that person's family now. Like, imagine you're that third person's family that is involved now, and it's like, oh shit, this person just got shot. Like I said, I don't know all the details. We'll try to
Why
find
the
it
fuck
out.
is he using a gun, bro? You're Cain Velasquez. You're a former heavyweight champ, bro.
Bash that dude's brains in, for real. Which is actually
probably
probably an illegal weapon by itself. But go
yeah.
ahead.
At
I'm
some
sorry to
point,
cut you
yeah.
off, but that
Oh,
little
no.
detail information I just found out before we got on the podcast, that somebody else was wounded in the shooting. I don't know if he was quote unquote a bad guy as well, or he was an innocent bystander, but someone else was harmed. A third person was harmed in this situation. So before you go all crazy and say free somebody, you got to learn the details. Free OJ was a thing at one point until you learn that motherfucker actually killed two human beings and just got away with it. So be careful who you say free of.
Yeah, it was the dude's that he was trying to shoot stepfather was hit by one of the shots in his arm and torso, non-life threatening stuff.
You don't deserve it. That stepfather doesn't deserve it. He's a human being as well, just like all of us.
Yeah, so Galarte, which is the other guy, he's 43. He's got a case too for lewd or lascivious acts upon a child under the age of 14. That's gross, dude. And he's got his court date on the 13th. He's got the same lawyer that represented Michael Jackson, Chris Brown, and Scott Peterson. So who knows?
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, it's just a sad situation all around, shitty situation all around. Kane's probably going to go to prison, but I hope it's not too long, and I don't think anybody's going to fuck with him in there either.
Oh, no, he's got I mean, this man, the only reason why I know of him, because I wasn't watching UFC during his run. I just started 2 or 3 years ago, like I've said. He's got brown power across his fucking chest in the shape of a U, and whatever color I am, brown, white, or black, or yellow, it's not technically correct, but we're gonna be, let's be honest, I'm not fucking with that dude. You know what I mean? So my opinion of it is, someone did something horrific, another human being countered by another horrific thing, which whatever you say, deserved it or not, he still did an act that was illegal, and he harmed somebody else in the process of doing it. And he'll suffer the consequences. So he knew what he was doing. He knew he wasn't going to get away with it. You don't deny for an eye. If we all acted like that, let's be honest, this world would be even more crazier. If I started doing things because I thought like, hey, this person did wrong, so let me do another wrong and I should be right and not serve any time. hey, he knew what he was doing. He was protecting his family. I totally get that. If I was in a similar situation, who knows what I might do. So
Right.
that's kind of where I limit myself. But also, if I'm just looking at it from the facts of what I have read already, he looks like he's going to jail for some time.
Yeah, it's quiet for him, unfortunately. But like I said, sad situation. But you can't do stuff like that, bro. It's just it
No.
doesn't work out ever. Like that shit only works in the movies.
Yeah,
Honestly.
right. You
That's
got to really
literally
have a good. You got to have a good plan. It seemed like, without knowing the real details of how he got the gun and what he did to approach him, it sounds like it was an emotional reaction, and he probably just
overall.
did something. So, we'll see how that unfolds. That'll be interesting. But at the end of the day, it's fucking, it is what it is. We have a lot of wildness going on. But, now that we're in the, as we said, or used to say on the other podcast, we're in the meat and potatoes of this podcast, number 12. Without further ado, we have a special guest for episode 12, Enter the Lab. Friend of mine that when I made the move from, just to give a little backstory, from when I made the move from New York, New Jersey, working in New Jersey, he was somebody that came along with, the entrepreneur mindset to join me at an office, work hard, and see if we can make something work in another state, whether it worked for a short time or a long time. It unfortunately was, shorter than we both thought. But in that experience of just work and grinding, we formed a special bond and started a great relation that I didn't think would happen when we first met. But I'm glad to know him to this day. He's actually in my house right now. He's in the cat room, not in the lab, but he's somebody that's, he's an originator of the lab, because I feel like when I was, wanting to have a space of my own, he was actually in the living room, because we had like 4 people in a 2-bedroom apartment when we moved here. So if you want to say before the lab, he was the lab, I guess you could say.
right.
His family knows him as Anthony. I know him as AP. His podcast listeners know him as Tones. He runs a podcast that he'll talk about a little briefly when he hops on right now. It's called Bomb Atomically, with a couple people. So we want to welcome AP to the lab. What's going on, my brother?
That was some intro. I wasn't
Hey.
expecting that.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
I was joking about the Pat McAfee style intro, but I got one. That was appreciated
It was unrehearsed. It was purely just off the rip. So,
from the heart.
yeah, appreciate you hanging with me this week in general, in real life, but
Absolutely.
also hanging with us. So kind of give a little intro into kind of what you do on Bomb Atomically. Just started a few months ago, right? And kind of, just in case people want to listen and vibe out to you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. We do a lot of like movies and TV shows. We're kind of into the conspiratorial mindset. We do some alien stuff, some deep state stuff. We like to get crazy with it, We're actually we got The Outsiders coming up. I don't know if you guys ever seen that.
I have. I should rewatch it, actually.
I've actually never seen it, so I'm kind of excited for it. But
you'll love it.
Yeah, that's what I've been told. But yeah, we like to break down movies and kind of, apply it to like real life things and stuff in society, and just kind of get introspective with it, some crazy stuff. But I appreciate being on here. I mean, I've long time, first time. I've been listening since the Utility Players days, so
appreciate it.
Good to finally be on.
Cool, man. So we'll get right into it. Obviously, before you hopped on, we covered UFC. We covered Aaron Rodgers hopefully making the announcement tomorrow. We'll be together, hopefully. We will be together. Hopefully he announces it on Pat McAfee or some cool way where we get to enjoy the process, because this is like a big free agent signing in NFL, and you don't usually get that. Whether it's not really a signing, it's coming back, but it's definitely different. And also we talked about CAIN VELASQUEZ, almost killing a dude. Yeah. So we wanted to get that out of the way, because we wanted to cover a couple things that we had that you are kind of a little bit of an expertise in, whether it's betting and also, cinema. But tomorrow we'll be seeing, myself, you, and Bree, we'll be seeing The Batman. We talked about it briefly last week on episode 11. No spoilers on this episode. No spoilers next week when we see it tomorrow, matinee, which hey, if you guys have time and you have days off, go see a matinee movie. It's like $9. It's pretty genius.
Ray's a huge advocate for matinee.
Dude,
Hey, I'm
it's
all
like,
for
hey,
it.
I got nowhere to be from 9 to 5 if I don't have to. So I'm all about pulling up with the old
It
people, senior discount and all that. But
it just
what
sounds
if you guys?
classier too. You know, I'm going to a matinee. You know, it's a
Yeah, it sounds
little
nice.
class sophistication. You know.
I'll start off with Ford, and I'll get yours, Tones, in a little bit. But
Okay.
for whatever, have you been seeing some reviews? Rotten Tomatoes has it high on
Has it
there.
really high? Yeah.
Yeah, so talk to me about what you've been seeing, and you'll need to see it after I see it because we want to talk about it off air too.
I might just go watch it tomorrow too at the matinee. Who knows? Shit on Twitter, man. My personal Twitter timeline is it's a cesspool to say the least.
Isn't
But
everybody?
but I've seen mixed reviews about it. Just people saying that it's great, people saying that it was okay. I was at the barber shop on Friday afternoon and they kind of were talking about it. The dude that was talking about it, he's like, "Oh, I left like 30 minutes, before the movie ended." I'm like, "So then how the heck are you making an opinion about it, bro? Like just stop talking about it." So to me it's kind of tough because I can't see Robert Pattinson in just another role. Just kind of
Hold on, Tones. We'll get to you. Don't trip out.
I'm waiting. I'm waiting.
Go ahead.
my childhood, he was in Twilight. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's a heck of an actor, but it's just weird. I'm in it just for Zoe Kravitz. That's my girl. So
Are we all?
but
Male and female, by the way, we're all into it. We could all
yeah.
come together and agree.
Yeah, I heard it has a different spin to like usual Batman movies. It's kind of like a different theme for it. It's not usual from the prior Batman movies. And then some people were saying it's better than Dark Knight. I don't know what kind of drugs those people are on because to me, Dark Knight is probably one of the better movies I've seen. So that's really high praise for it. But it's Batman. It's it's a staple in movies in DC, and I gotta watch it just to make my own opinion on it.
Okay. I'm glad we're doing like a before and after so we can kind of review and watch it. So we have the kind of before take of before we watch it. And then we'll be able to on record say, wow, that was really dumb. I underestimated. But I know AP's got a different vibe about the lead actor. So we'll let him take over on that, his take.
I'll get into Robert Pattinson in a second. I just want to preface that I'm not like a comic book guy, like comic book movie Marvel. I'm not a fan of. I've watched some of them, but like it's just too much for me to get into. It's like I tried to get into the Avengers, and I say to my friend, "Okay, tell me what to watch so I know what's going on." And he gave me like 8 movies to watch. I'm like, I'm
Usually
not
how it
spending
works.
like 16 hours to like figure out this one movie. So
It's a whole month.
Exactly, but I will say though, I do like The Dark Knight is one of my favorite movies. Period. Not like superhero, like great movie.
Yeah.
So for people saying that's better than that, I don't know. I mean, like that would be nice if it was, but and also the fact that they're saying this is like the darkest Batman ever. Like those Batmans are pretty dark. I don't know how much darker you can get than The Dark Knight. I mean, it's in the name. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited. Like I'm actually a pretty big fan of Robert Pattinson. I've never seen Twilight. It has nothing to do with that. But, and like I used to say the same thing, like, oh, that vampire dude, fuck him. Like I'm not gonna see his movie. But he's been in some stuff in recent years, like Lighthouse, really good. Him and William Dafoe in that are crazy. Good Time, same direction that did Uncut Gems. They have a movie with him, and I was telling Ray, he's actually got like a really good. He's supposed to be from Queens in that movie. He's got like a really good Queens, New York accent, which like he's British as fuck. You would never expect that out of him. He was good in Tenet. There's another movie, High Life, he's in that was pretty good.
Yeah, Tenet was good.
Yeah, so like just I've seen enough of him the last few years where he's kind of blowing up. I'm like, all right, this dude's talented. Just gotta look past the Twilight stuff.
You've swayed me a little bit more than what I was because I know when I said whatever I said on episode 11 about, I don't know about a vampire dude, and playing Batman
All
or
the
whatever.
glitters
But,
and sparkles and shit.
yeah, it's pretty judging. But I've watched enough. I haven't watched a full movie of those series, but I've watched enough where I'm just like, ugh. But I guess it's different acting. Every movie's different. Every directing and flow and production and dialogue different. So since you've mentioned it, I have tried to sway myself. But I know every time Zoe Kravitz is in a scene, ears
Be a little
perked, if you
distracted.
know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Look,
So I'm
I'm
excited
not
about
going to
that.
tell you. I'm not going to tell you to become like the biggest Robert Pattinson fan. Just keep an open mind.
Yeah, I will, and that's
Yeah.
what I try to do. Obviously, the reason why I asked you guys what have you been hearing, and whether it's on Twitter and stuff. Obviously, if things are not totally negative on Twitter and conversations, and things are good. If it gets good reviews by the critics and good reviews by the audience, something's trending up there. And also, I haven't heard too many hard takes on Twitter. Obviously, we've seen a couple like this shit sucks.
Yeah.
It's
I don't
boring. I
take
fell asleep.
Twitter's so serious, anyways.
Yeah, you can. It's for the likes. It's shit.
Always.
Yeah.
We were talking about it earlier. Like, no one has given like a good reason why they don't like the movie. It's like either it's too long or like, oh, I didn't like it. Okay,
Yeah,
why?
nobody's
Well,
giving
that's
like
how movies are nowadays, though.
Yeah.
Like, if you got a movie that's under like 2 hours, 2.5 hours, like I searched through Netflix and like movies are like an hour 28 minutes. Like, I can't start watching this shit till like 30, 45 minutes in. Like,
Yeah.
so I need like a 2.5 hour movie, especially with like the Batman. Like, that's you got to build up to it. Like, you can't just have an hour and a half. You're not gonna get any action. So like, I've never been one that's it's too long. Like, give me more.
If it's good, I don't care how long it is.
Right?
100%.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's there's not too many movies that are over 2 hours, 2.5 hours. I would say the latest one that I thought was, maybe I watched it in a wrong setting. Maybe I had too much to drink that night. But what was it, Dune? And we'll have another conversation about that. I know you guys covered that on Atomically. It was a longer movie and there was a lot going on. I didn't know about the books. Obviously, you're an expert in that, and you know all about that. That was something of late that I could think that I was a little like, all right, I'm kind of getting a little sleepy. But for the most part, the way I look at it is like if I'm investing, the longer the better for me. Usually, pause. But I mean, I'm probably getting more for my money sometimes. So I'm excited to watch a 3-hour movie. Our movie time tomorrow is at 3 p.m. We'll get out of it. It's what we call it, beef previews and all that, 6:30, and then we'll just be able to chill the rest of the night, eat some dinner. So I'm excited. It's a perfect time for us. But hopefully next week we'll review it. We'll maybe get your take and quotes. We'll post it on Twitter. A little review after the review.
The last Justice League movie was like 4 hours long. The Zack Snyder one. I didn't watch it. I was like 2 hours is too much for a movie.
Yeah, it was long. I had to watch that in like 3 parts.
Yeah.
It was really long, like the director's cut or whatever. I remember.
Did you like it?
I liked it overall.
Yeah.
I liked it overall. I mean, I like a lot of things. I'm kind of one of those people that it's like we talked when we were eating dinner, AP, where it's like sending food back. Like, I'm not that person that sends food back. I'm really like, if it's not horrible, like where I'm like regretting every second and this is a travesty, I really don't care. I try to enjoy as much as I can creatively, because who the fuck am I? I'm not.
You're pretty
this
low
is the most
maintenance,
creative thing I've ever done in my life. This podcast, like, I don't.
And you've been doing a hell of a job of it.
Yep.
Job, please. But we're excited about that. The second, we have 2. We'll stay on the theme of movies. But I seen that Will Smith and Michael B. Jordan are doing a sequel to I Am Legend. That's a big budget already, right?
Yeah.
Michael B. Jordan, the hottest young. He's the Will Smith 2.0.
Pretty much,
in my opinion. So, that should be pretty cool. I like the I Am Legend concept and stuff like that. Very relevant these days.
To be honest, I never. That's a movie I've started so many times, but I've never finished it.
Really,
I couldn't tell you why. Something always comes up. I've enjoyed it when I've like watched it, just for whatever reason. I've never.
I think it's a little more lack. The build up and the beginning and the middle is better than, I would say, the ending.
So I saw the good
known
parts
for the ending. I think it's not known for the ending, in my opinion.
Okay. So is this going to be like a direct continuation? Like, obviously some years in the future, or is it like a spin-off?
Yeah, great question. I just seen that. I just see Michael B. Jordan, Will Smith, and I'm like, somebody's dumping a bag right there, because that's a lot of money in a movie. Those 2 human beings. So, Will Smith is a minimum, like, to even probably take a script is a minimum payment. And then Michael B. Jordan's the hottest actor, in today's, with the whole Marvel, and he's done a lot of bit of everything, right? Like, as far as drama, action, all that stuff, and he's killed all of it. So, the Rocky movies,
He's
Black
been around
Panther.
a while too.
Oh yeah, which is the lead-in.
Yeah,
if we want to get into that, just want to drop that little nugget. The lead-in was Fort, We were going to cover this last week, but we had B Wonder on. We didn't have enough time to cover it. What have you been watching? Have you finished it? Tell us, because I'm sure if you have a pulse, you should have watched the show. And if you didn't,
Took me long enough to get it.
Yeah, we won't give you spoilers if you didn't, but we'll give you a little hype video if you haven't. And what's the show you've been, vibing out to?
I've been watching The Wire the past few weeks, and man, like for a show to have like roller coasters and like just different spans of emotion, and I'm just like watching this, and it's got good people in it. I mean, Idris Elba is in it, so
Michael B.
he did
Jordan.
a heck of a job. Yeah, Michael B. Jordan as a kid. That show just kind of like breaks down a lot of things that society goes through nowadays, and I guess how hard it is to get out of a cycle once you're born into it. And they tried to do it with some of the kids, but you have, the government or local officials or whatever that stopped it. Money, this and that. But how hard it is for these kids that's all they know. They don't know anything else, and you have certain people that try to help them to get out of it, but once your mom is in it, your dad is in it. Like some of these kids have never met their dad because their dad was in prison because of whatever for so long. And it really goes to the top. It's not just the neighborhoods or whatever per se, I guess. It's the government officials, the mayors are crooked, the senators are crooked. It's like how far deep do you get into this? And it's just, I guess it was ahead of its time, really, to really say it, because now you're muted, Ray.
It's perfect for that, but it's a cliche, but it's perfect to describe The Wire.
Yeah, and I mean, just some of the things that the cops were doing to kind of get people. This is where I'm at now. I'm in the 5th season, the last season.
Oh, okay, cool.
And some of the shit that McNulty is doing to bring down Marlowe because no one else is doing anything about it. And it's like, yeah, I get you got to put money in different places and shit like that, but bro,
it's good, dude. It's
so,
fucking quality cinema,
so
like from the acting to
really is.
the plots to how it feels so real. And I like how you introduced that. You introduced it on a real level without even talking about the actual show. You were like, real life, this is how it is, without even touching. And then you go into, and then you add the acting that's in it, the plot, the how it flows, Barksdale and the leader and the breakdown.
I don't know his name, but Littlefinger from Game of Thrones, who becomes the mayor. I don't know his name. Yeah, bro.
That's why we got Tones on. He breaks it down. He knows.
He's so good, man. Just like Game of Thrones aside, he was probably one of my favorite characters in Game of Thrones. Everyone hated him, but
that's how you know you liked him, though. You hated him. He did his job.
He's just like, people talk about range of actors, but like his range is crazy. And like, he just says things, and the way he's able to like his face, like sometimes he doesn't even have to say things, like just his facial reactions or how his face, like his body language is insane. And you're like, I stop. Cause like sometimes I'll be on my phone or looking at shit on my computer or whatever. But like when there's like scenes with him in it, I gotta like stop and actually pay attention just because his acting is really good. And I mean, one of my favorite dudes is the senator Clay Davis. Every time he's like, she, yes, bro, she. That shit is so funny. I'm never saying shit any other way again. I'm always gonna say it like
that's
that.
A classic.
Yeah, that shit. So I'm excited to see how it ends. I think I'm like halfway through season 5. But
you've already experienced the best of the best. It's just ending it at that point. You know what I mean? Just putting a nail in it.
And then Bunk is good too. The other detective, he's in a few other shows, and he's really good. I like him a lot too. So you can't go wrong. Like Avon Barksdale was good. Stringer Bell, like it's just
top
quality.
notch.
Just the things that happen in the show, and I really like it. I mean, it took me a while just because it starts off kind of slow. But just how they do the different seasons and different things that happen, and it's cool. I mean, I don't know if that really happened in Baltimore, stuff like that, but
It sounds, from what I've
it,
gathered, news wise and real, it sounds all
it got
authentic.
to a point like they should have just left it, bro. And like it's like, bro, the numbers were so crooked. Like, you're not reporting certain things to make it look a certain way so you can win the campaign, and they didn't want to put it out because of the elections. Like that shit, we don't think about it because like we don't know or whatever. But that stuff,
That
I'm
goes
sure
on,
it
bro.
happens, bro. I'm sure
Yeah.
it's too deep right now. Like
That was my favorite part about the show is that you're talking about like the shit these kids go through is like it's real. The shit's actually happening. But then like you see how the law, the police level, like how they enforce the laws affects them, and then how the politicians when they get involved, how it affects the police, which it all trickles down. And like there's a lot of shows, like you said, it was before its time, which is 100% true. Now you see all these shows about drug dealers and stuff like Power or whatever. No one kind of did it all together, I think, the way The Wire did. Like from top, like we said, U.S. senators all the way down to the corner kid. That's my favorite part of it. Just seeing how everything has an effect on everything.
Extremely well done. R.I.P. Omar. Michael.
R.I.P. Omar.
Omar.
He was so good.
The actors that came out of that show is phenomenal. Like and
He
at
was
the
in
end
The
of the day,
Sopranos too for a little bit.
yeah, and that's before black series were hot. You know what I mean? At that time, like being on HBO, HBO was just getting going with The Sopranos and all these things, Oz. But like you think of a black raw show, it didn't exist at that time. And then you have all these actors that came out of it. Like you look back and you go, oh, he's up for an Academy Award. He's in the hottest movie right now. Like you still 20 years later, you still see it. It's phenomenal.
I love when people are like, oh, Idris Elba, he just blew up overnight. Like, no, he's been doing this shit for like 20 years.
For a while.
For real.
Go watch The Wire. Get yourself educated,
Yeah.
Exactly. I love that. Yeah.
I really like how they focus on Snoop and Chris doing all the dirty work, and like we kind of talked about it off camera, like that opening scene for season 4, like I always saw it on Twitter before I even watched the show, when she goes to buy the nail gun and she's talking to the guy.
The nail gun. Don't talk too much, but touch on
man,
it. The
that is
nail
like,
gun situation's dope.
Yeah, that is top tier acting and top tier
Right?
writing. And like I always heard like jokes and stuff on Twitter about like Baltimore accents and whatnot and how they pronounce certain things. And bro, you would think that these people were actually from there with their accents, because they do a great job of it. And it's kind of funny to hear it now, but man, like that is, if you haven't watched it, like just get through like the first few episodes of the first season and just thank me later, because it's top tier TV. It's top tier TV.
Now, you were talking about the accents. The most impressive part is like half those actors are British. Idris Elba, McNulty's British. Like
Stringer Bell.
Yeah.
McNulty had all the bitches in that shit. Like,
yeah, that man, he's slaying, right?
He was a dog.
Over here drinking Jameson by the railroad, just slanging dick.
Couldn't stay faithful to save his life. Yeah, he's freaking. He's over here like trying to cook these cases, drinking Jameson. Buck comes in, he's like, "Bro, it's 4 a.m. What you doing?"
Yeah. Anytime I used to watch that shit, I used to want. It makes you want to drink like hard liquor when you're watching that. Like, damn, you got that buzz. You feeling nice.
I love the chemistry too, McNulty and Bunk. There's that one scene where they go to like a crime scene and they don't say a word to each other, just like
fuck.
shit.
Yeah.
Fuck, shit. Yeah. Just like looking around.
Dude, that's a great scene. You're right. When they're just like, fuck. You're right. I forgot. Dude, I got to rewatch that. That shit is so good. I know when Fort mentioned to me a couple weeks ago that he was watching it, I got so hyped because I was like, finally, like I watched it for the first time when we moved down here, AP, when you guys would go out to the field. That would be the thing I would, I got hooked on my laptop. And I think me and Bree watched the few episodes or maybe the first season, so we got to still continue it. But man, classic shit.
Yeah. I got one more. I got one more question for Fort. What do you think of season 2?
That's always the question.
Yeah.
I guess it was cool. It was all right because they introduced Beatty, and I mean it. Most of the show, I guess, was based on like the corners and let's say like the black youth. So I guess they wanted to put another aspect into it about how that part was crooked as well. And even though he was so high up, like he was the treasurer of the port or whatever, he was still trying to get by. Like it didn't matter where he was, and with him trying to get by, his son who was working with him, which was sad too, try to follow in his footsteps, I guess, in some sort of way. So it was, bro, they're just, I guess that city was so bad to where it didn't really
Still
matter
is.
where you, that you had to do whatever you could to get by, and you had to kind of risk it. It was a little slower, but it's just like, I guess like anime, you kind of have to have like filler episodes and whatnot.
Yeah.
So that was like a filler season, but I didn't mind it.
Could have been a different writer.
I just
Maybe a
asked
different writer.
because most people, like, by far, that's like their least favorite season. If you ask
Yeah,
me.
it was my least favorite after I watched it.
Yeah, I thought it was still good, but like, because you know what happened was they did the first season with like the Corner Boys, and then I think each season they were going to do something a little bit different, and then once they tried something different, they kind of got some backlash.
They were like,
so
"Oh
went
shit, we
back
got to
to
go
the
back."
Corner Boys.
You're right.
Yeah. No, but I mean, it was good that they showed a different part of the city, and
Because
I mean,
the
it's
harbor
just
and
the harbor,
that
it's a
import is
big
a
part of
big
it,
thing
yeah.
of Baltimore, so I get why they had to implement it.
Yeah, and just with all the girls and stuff like that, that stuff happens, bro. Like,
Absolutely.
like to this day, and you have to show light on that. And that show did a good job of showing light on a lot of things that happen, and everyone needs to watch it. Just kind of have
You
that
know,
point of view.
the craziest part to me is the fact that this came out 20 years ago, and all the shit they're talking about is still a problem now. It's
No
not
problem.
worse.
Yeah,
Hasn't gotten better. It's wild.
Yeah.
20 years ago. So not only was it ahead of its time, like putting shit on blast, but it was ahead of its time production wise, writing wise, acting wise. So it was like all for all. I don't think it gets talked about enough. I know Sopranos is talked about a lot, Game of Thrones, all these things that over the last 20 years, but that's something that I'll always promote and tell.
I also like how they do the intro theme song, how someone else
love that
performs it or does it. Yeah. The
They have
quote,
a quote after
quotes, they'll quote
you come
whoever.
for the king, you best not miss. That's my favorite episode. That's it.
Man.
I took a picture of that. I still have it on my phone. When I was watching it for the second time, took a picture of that shit. I was like, that shit's legendary. So one last episode before we have you go, AP, is a topic that came out right before we started recording. Myself and you were in the lab watching it live happen on Pat McAfee show, and on Twitter was Calvin Ridley, hashtag BTR, bet the Ridley.
566.
My man was throwing up, originally from Florida, right?
South Florida.
Was the thing about him, for people who don't know, he, mental health has been a serious problem, I guess, in the world, but also
losing his parlays.
But also a crutch, in a wrong way for most people, easy to use, like, oh, I've been fucking up in school because I have mental health. I've been fucking up at work. My relationship sucks because of mental health. And most of it is right. Don't get me wrong. But guess what? Mental shit has been going on for years. And now all of a sudden there's a word or a phrase that people take advantage. This man left the Atlanta Falcons wide receiver out of Alabama. I think third year, maybe. Took a break from, the team to help his mental health allegedly. And we've come to find out today that during that mental health timeout from the team, he was betting on games. He didn't bet against his team. He bet for his team, but he was involved in betting on the game of football, which is a no-no in any sport. It doesn't look good. It's not a good look on the field. So as two people that bet more than myself, what's your take on it overall from the news point of the NFL looks bad doing it, the betting aspect, and any jokes? Come on with it, please.
I mean,
Tones, you go first.
Okay. I personally don't give a fuck whether he bets on the game, especially if he's not playing. But I understand from the NFL's perspective, like, you can't have players betting, especially on your own team. I mean, that's the whole Pete Rose thing. I mean, So it's kind of
Still
sketchy.
not
with
allowed
that.
back in the MLB from
He's
it.
still not. You have the MLB's best hitter all time and most home run leader all time, not in the Hall of Fame. But I don't want to get started on baseball.
Another topic, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I really don't have a problem with it, but I also understand why the NFL wants to set an objective because it's a very slippery slope. Once you guys start betting on games, like, I don't know, they need to either like set up some kind of system where like, with like FanDuel and DraftKings, like if anyone sets up an account in their name, like flag it, don't let them bet, but then there's ways around it. So, who knows? Guys are going to do what they want to do. Just got to be smart about it.
Yeah, for sure. I'm on the same page with you. I don't really care what he does with his money. He worked hard for it his whole life to earn whatever he's got to do, a paycheck. And if he wants to gamble it, that's cool. I do understand what the NFL is doing. They kind of have to set a precedent because that hasn't happened, I guess, or no one's been caught doing it. I'm sure players bet all the time, but my thing with it is it's them being it's two-faced, bro. Like you have
talk about it.
You have the Dolphins, all right, just because that's my team, I guess, whose stadium is called Hard Rock Stadium. It's a casino. Like the casino is paying the Dolphins to that's their sponsor, and then you got the owner, Stephen Ross, dumbass,
that came out last month.
Yeah, paying to lose games, and
allegedly
now when he's the day he's supposed to come back, the NFL is making it okay to gamble on games. So it's just it makes no sense to me.
Which your owner has not gotten, and that came out publicly. It's not a fact, but maybe they did an investigation. They haven't suffered any consequences.
Yeah,
your franchise yet, right?
No, nothing's happened to him.
That's crazy.
And like, if pro athletes like want to gamble, all right, cool. Like, make it so they can't gamble on their own team. I know, like, that's going to be one of the hardest things to do. But you got fucking Nancy Pelosi, who buys stocks and options and shit.
Yeah, not for real.
So it's like, bro, players can't gamble, but you got somebody who's in the government that's doing stuff, and that's a whole other topic as well. But it's the same shit. It's the same thing. So it just doesn't make sense to me. I mean, I don't know how deep he was getting into it. Of course, the interweb is going all out with videos of him like going backwards and not scoring and shit like that, and saying he was deep in Vegas and calling the mob that Matt Ryan was going to throw a pick, this and that. But the NFL is always doing this shit. Like when they were doing their celebration rules, and then they saw that players weren't having fun and shit, and then they brought it right back. Now you can celebrate. And now you suspend. Bro, he's getting suspended for a whole year. He said he only bet $1,500. I don't believe that for a second, because no gambler ever says how much they're really betting. You ask someone, oh, how much you bet on it? Oh, I only bet $50, but they really bet 100 or 200. No one's ever going to tell you, So
I bet a unit,
Yeah, exactly. There's no way he only bet 1,500. I don't believe that for a second, but it's just, it's so dumb, bro. Like,
what?
And the other, so one more thing. The other thing too is we were talking about this before. Is like you watch like Fox Game Day or like before the games, and like they'll show like Cowboys Packers. They'll show the record, then they'll show the spread, and then the over under. It's like they're profiting off it between the DraftKings ads and all this other stuff. But then like as soon as like you're saying, it's kind of two faced. Like you have no problem making money off it, but then as soon as the players start doing it, you have to.
They put the spreads, they put the money lines, they put all the odds on there, and it's like, what do you expect them to do? And supposedly he said he couldn't even watch football at that point. So, I mean, I don't know, man.
You're betting on it then.
I told my brother that I was like, yo, players are definitely looking at their props before the game. There's no way that they're not.
Yeah, you can. It's unavoidable at this point. And that's what we were talking about.
All right, what does Vegas have me at? It's like, all right, you only got
get motivated at least.
Exactly.
Like, Vegas thought I would only score one touchdown today. Like, you don't know how everybody ticks. You know, everybody uses that Michael Jordan thing is, you know, the most motivated, self-motivated player in the world. He still found ways to motivate himself.
Yeah,
Whereas, like,
so I
if a
took that
rookie was
personally.
yeah, I took that personally. That's the same thing, and that's something that it's unavoidable. Like AP said, back in the day, if you didn't look for it, you wouldn't find it. Now, if you're an athlete, you're just watching Sports Center, you can see all the over, under, the odds.
Everything.
They have shows about it. Pat McAfee talks about odds like half of his show. So, like, if you're just living life, you could find out what your odds are. And obviously, when this news was coming out, Calvin Ridley was tweeting himself, which is a dumb move because it's like, yeah, I guess he already came out of the NFL pleading guilty. I think that's what they came. That's why he was speaking freely on Twitter and he has not deleted the tweet since. So that shows that nobody told him to like take it off, which he was already found guilty. But he was tweeting like, I bet $1,500 total. I don't have a gambling problem. Another tweet. I couldn't even watch football at that point. Another tweet. I just gone. I like a tweet.
It's gonna be more healthy.
Jesus Christ, you went to Alabama, a good school. At least fucking read a complete
I ain't
sentence.
paying attention in classes.
Jesus Christ. Just gonna be more healthy when I get back. Come back. I don't know, whatever that means. But anyway, so and then the NFL released a statement saying the integrity of the sport. This happened when he was on during a 5-day period in November of 2021 while he was on the list of non-illness and yada, yada, yada. Doesn't matter. Either way, he's an idiot. There's a lot more idiots out there that will do probably worse. But, hey, he'll get suspended for a year. I think he's losing like 18. I think he's losing a good amount of money, though.
10, 11
I heard
mil.
18 million. I'm not sure how accurate that is.
I saw someone saying like, he's a bad gambler. He put down 1,500 and lost 10 million.
Lost 10 million, yeah. It's like, bro, you got players that do way worse stuff. Like Dante Stallworth killed the man.
Yeah.
Like, regardless if
about who,
he was in the car, you got players that, do whatever.
That beat their wives and only get suspended 2 games. How?
And it's not even, and it's
Ray Lewis killed the man.
Ray Lewis got glorified on TV.
Robert Harrison shot somebody.
Robert, I forgot about that at a car wash that he owned.
But the thing is, it's not even like the NFL that does most of it. It's the media. It's people on social media now. If they didn't talk about it and make such a big fuss about it, the NFL probably wouldn't even like punish them. It's like, you get punished more for smoking weed in a state where smoking weed is probably legal than you do for domestic violence. It's like, it's so backwards. It doesn't make sense. We live in a crazy
world in that respect. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, pandemic, oh, war. That's all normal to me. I said it last episode. This has been going on since the beginning of time. What trips me out more is that we glorify people who in 2002 killed somebody, but because it wasn't on social media and it's been 20 years later, we're like, we'll forgive him. But like Chris Brown and all that stuff. And then all of a sudden somebody does wrong in 2022 because of it's social media. It's out it's in the now. It's like, fuck him. He deserves the worst. It's like, what the fuck are we doing?
People still listening to R. Kelly songs, dog. Come
on. I'll forever bump R. Kelly.
True.
And Michael Jackson and all those. So, yeah, I'm a hypocrite as well. So, I get it. But also, I don't have a strong take on people. I don't cancel people. I don't go, oh, that person did wrong. I'm going to stop watching their movies. That's not me. So, whatever. I accept everybody that's human. You like booty holes. You like to beat your wife. Hey, if you entertain me a little bit, I'll fucking watch you. I'll maybe fucking watch your cinema or something. I don't know. But anything to end on that as far as betting, we'll get into our own bet the fort. But AP Tones, we appreciate you hopping on for a little bit of time.
Yeah, I got one thing for Tones if he wants to speak on it. I know it's a touchy subject and whatnot for people. So if you don't want to talk about it, that's cool. We'll talk about it, not on the pod. But since you said stuff about conspiracies and shit like that, what's your take on 9/11?
I've gone back and forth.
That's like the most loaded question to ask a human being to end.
There's definitely some weird stuff, but like I just I find it hard to believe that it's all fucking.
Don't give a
planned
real answer
shit.
to that.
I could. I really could.
He's
It
trying
really
to create a
was,
clip right now.
George Bush hates black people,
We did
Yeah,
say
just
we
stick
needed
to
to
that.
spark some controversy.
That's true.
Hey,
Also,
listen, no such thing as bad publicity.
yeah.
Right?
Oh my god, that's so funny.
but-
That's like the last question you ask somebody right before they log off, just to trap them real quick. That's pretty good.
Where do you
But-
stand on abortion, right? No.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Do you agree with
all
the death
lives
penalty?
matter or Black Lives Matter? Which one do you choose, brother? Yeah, it's like, maybe we should save that for next time. But
Aliens
yeah,
real, yes or no?
What's
real,
that?
yes or no?
Aliens real,
Really?
yes
Yeah.
or no?
Oh, 100%. Don't get me started on. I'm someone
I'll
of an
have
ancient astronaut theorist myself. An amateur ancient astronaut theorist. I could go on for days about that.
Did we land on the moon or no?
I think we did. Either that or Stanley.
I like
Kubrick
this
directed it.
Spitfire.
One or
Maybe
the
we can
other.
make this into a segment next time you come in. Save some more
Listen,
questions.
yeah.
You got to save the
Yeah,
content.
you get them. Save them up for next time. But real quick before I
got
go, I
you.
want to give some shout outs.
Yeah, please do.
Bomb Atomically podcast, like we talked about, we're on all platforms. New episodes should be coming out in a couple of weeks once I'm done pillaging the East Coast. Head back to New York. Also, TNT Dynamite podcast, my boy Tom and Tone show. It's another one. And my boy Joey, Professor Joey Colombo from Bomb Atomically, he's got his own little business going. The Forget About It Buds page. He makes about edibles
Real
and all
New
kinds of crazy shit. Yeah, if you're in the New York tri-state area, like hit him up. Maybe I'll give you guys a link. You can post his link or something. But he's got a menu. Let me just read off his menu real quick, right? He's got, this is all with infused sauce, right? He's got baked ziti, lasagna, penne alla vodka, pasta marinara, chicken parm, meatball parm, eggplant parm, meatballs. He's got biscotti, fudge brownies, chocolate chip muffin cake, devil food cake, chocolate chip cookies, all of that shit. So I got a biscotti with me right now. I'm about to tear into that once I get off of you guys.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah,
But
we're
yeah,
gonna have some fun. We got some. We will try that product out this week. I'm excited to do the brownies with the, some mushrooms in it, and also some weed with the, the Italian biscotti. But
and
yeah,
I'll
man,
say
we
this,
appreciate that.
I've had the biscotti, and usually you have edibles that just taste like weed. Like now, this tastes like a good biscotti that gets you fucked up.
Nice.
Like so, it's good quality shit. But yeah, check them out. Check out the
excited.
podcast. Yeah.
We appreciate
Thanks
you
for
coming
having
on,
me,
man.
guys.
We'll put
Thanks, man.
yeah,
Absolutely.
Thank you, man. We'll put everything in a post in our story and stuff like that. Promote, cross modulate, pollinate, and all that like we do. Because at the end of the day, love is love, and we want to make sure that we show love to other podcasts, and hopefully they show love back. But we'll have you back on. Obviously, this was put together very last minute. You just happened to come over last night, and we'll have you on again. We'll deep dive into aliens and controversies and all that good stuff. But thanks for hopping on real quick, and obviously we'll see you soon.
Appreciate it. Later, boys.
All right, brother. Peace.
Peace.
All righty, let's wrap this episode up. Let's see here. Do you have any bet the fort?
Yeah, I got a few
That's real
picks
quick
actually.
that we can put on record.
Yeah, I got 2 NBA, 1 soccer. Wednesday night, Wizards, Clippers.
You have this written down, right? That you could send to me.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
I got it in my notes.
Cool.
Wednesday night, Wizards, Clippers. Clippers just lost a bad game last night against the Knicks. Wizards have been kind of hooping. I'm taking the Clippers just because I hope Paul George and Kawhi come back soon, because with those 2 superstars, that team could be pretty lethal. Nuggets Warriors Thursday night on TNT. 2 good games on Thursday night. Nets and Sixers the early game, and then Nuggets Warriors Thursday night. Warriors have been kind of slacking the last few games.
They've fallen off big time.
Since Clay came back. Adding a player like that back into the rotation is tough, especially if he's not getting the minutes he needs. Doesn't get a rhythm. I think Curry, I don't know. He needs to take over more. He's been kind of lackadaisical, passing too much. The Nuggets are a good team. They still don't have
Great
Jamal
team.
Murray.
Yeah.
Jokic is out of his mind. He is probably one of the most efficient players the NBA has ever seen. Give me the Nuggets over the Warriors. That's Thursday night. And then for soccer people, this is March 9th, Wednesday, Real and PSG. Give me Real Madrid. That
Nice.
should be.
They're playing
that should-
without Mbappe, PSG, so that could be
Yeah.
big for us going home. We need 2 goals. We need to outscore them by 2, so that's good.
Yeah. I'll take Real Madrid over PSG. That should probably be the lock out of those games. Wizards, Clippers, and Nuggets, Warriors. It's just, we needed some picks. It's been a while since we did bet the fort. Football's over, so basketball is kind of tough to bet on, especially when we record this, early on and trying to find some games like that. Injury reports come out last minute, stuff like that. But I'm sticking to those. And Heater's still first place in the East. We just got Depot back. We still don't have Morris playing. Kyle Lowry's
I think
been in and out. Yeah, we just won. I mean that loss against the Bucks, 1 point loss, was bullshit.
I mean, I'm sorry, the Rockets.
Yeah, we beat the Bulls. We own the Bulls. We own the Sixers. We beat the Nets. Sorry, KD.
No,
we're
ruined
the comeback.
I'm not even.
Yeah.
They won't be talked about.
No Jimmy,
on the
no
podcast
Lowry.
until-
Yeah, so I hope we get fully healthy soon. We should be good and lock up that 1 seed, unless the Nets are 8th, because I don't want to play them in a 7-game series.
Love it.
That's bet the fort. And then I got some shout outs. I don't know what you got going on.
Yeah, do it now. So I'm going to do a Elvis Escobar speed topic session. Maybe when we have, maybe I'll develop a segment for that, because I got some topics I just want to throw out there, put it on record, talk about it real quick. So go, shout outs.
Yeah, shout out to Bryce Mitchell. We talked about him earlier. Dominant performance, UFC 272. Shout out Ronaldo Moicano. So much heart, man. Boha. A few shout outs that I got reached out on. Shout out to Drunken Burger Kitchen in Boca. It's right next to O'Brien's. If you're from Boca, you know where that is. If you're in Meisner, you're getting faded, you don't want to spend that kind of money, just go to the Drunken Burger. It's open for a while. It's right next to O'Brien's. Like I said, it's the kitchen there. So hit it up. They got some good stuff. I've seen their stories. It looks like really good food. Shout out my boy AB at feed_me_CDZ. He just dropped a new GTA Vice City mix, so that kind of brought back some memories playing Vice City. He's got some good stuff on there. And shout out LeBron, man. Fucking 56-point game the other night, just doing whatever he can, trying to will that Lakers team to a dub.
Desperation, as he said.
Yeah, man.
Desperation.
He had a 56-point game Saturday night and had a 56-point game in 2005. So that kind of just shows you the longevity of his career. And the man's had like 3 primes. So
yeah, for sure. Not many people have 1, let alone 3. And he's
and then Tatum followed it up last night too, hooping. So the league is in good hands. I'm sorry it happened against your Nets, but there's a lot of young players going out right now and doing their thing. So yeah, and shout out us, man. The fuck, like,
please.
We've been potting for over a year now, like consistent content. Ray's doing his thing with the post,
production,
like,
guests on, changing up, trying to be different, trying to also be ourselves. That's important. Trying to be different, trying to be ourselves is what everybody battles in real life. But as a content provider, because I'll never call us influencers. That's fucking lame as fuck. But it's just like at the end of the day, when you're putting stuff out there, you want to stand out, but you also want to be yourself and don't want to be a sellout.
And of course, shout out BR, Billionaires Row.
Billionaires Row.
Always.
Hashtag Billionaires Row ad on the timestamp. How to show love. Top right corner. Bottom left for me. Bottom right for you. BR, go get it. They're doing big things. I think they're going to start like a podcast or some type of media session. They're doing big things. William Benson, Patrick Ducant is doing their thing. So big fan. I'll be seeing him, I think, in a couple of weeks for, like I said last time, for his daughter's birthday. We'll link up. Hopefully we'll get him on the podcast, because last time he said, well, next time he comes out, maybe he'll have maybe we'll have a contract signing. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're up to something as DJ.
I'm like Odell with the contracts.
That's my Odell impression. But quick little rundown for me. So went to Friday Night SmackDown. Roman Reigns, the ones, king, head of the table, God mode. He's awesome. I had a video on Twitter at Elvis in the lab. went kind of viral, got like 5,000 views on 2 videos,
Light
got
work.
a lot of likes and retweets. It's the most famous I've ever been on Twitter ever. So I was hyped because I didn't even intend seeing him in a Bentley black and white. I got hyped. I ran across the arena. I was like, oh shit, I think that's Roman Reigns. I ran, videoed it, put it up on Twitter. I looked down, looked back up. My phone had already 500 views. I go, what the fuck? And then I uploaded another one. And so it was pretty dope. Great experience. Nice. It was a great situation. Great, SmackDown put on a show. Pat McAfee, shout out. He's going to be fighting on in WrestleMania against Austin Theory, bitch ass, whatever. Also, shout out Ashley Mann. She was at AEW Revolution. She had a great podcast on the pre-show. She was there all weekend. They had it in Orlando. She lives in Orlando. They put on a great pay-per-view. Myself and AP watched it last night. We illegally streamed it. Sorry, I'm not paying yet. I'll eventually start paying. Oh, that's the video on YouTube. That's the video that I uploaded. Black and white Bentley. He gave us love. He gave me a head nod. It wasn't in either video. But and then Enter the Lab update. He's a beast. He's the man. Look at him. He wishes he was me. Long hair, beard, muscular is what I'm trying to say. Roman Reigns, shout out, head of the table, tribal chief,
Yes,
needle mover. It's gonna be fun. WrestleMania, man. If you could make it down here, if you're happen to be down, first weekend of April, I'm gonna have some people over to watch WrestleMania. That should be fun. But Ashley, man, she'll be on the podcast. We're trying to get her. She has her own podcast, Kick Ash, which is amazing. I listen to every episode that drops. If you're a wrestling fan, definitely listen to her. She's awesome. It's great to hear a woman's perspective on wrestling.
On anything, really.
Yeah, on anything, really, but especially her. I love
feminist here.
Yeah, please. All women's rights. Let's bring upwards. Let's break the glass ceiling and all that cliche stuff. But anyway, yeah, she's awesome. I talk to her daily because I think she's doing something organic, kind of like what we're doing. She has a passion about talking, speaking, and having fun. Whether she has one listener,
and she does it by herself.
She does it by herself, and that takes fucking courage.
Yeah,
I'm trying to get on that podcast because I enjoy listening to it, and I think other people will enjoy it even more if I hop on. Little confidence there, but I think I know what I'm talking about when it comes to wrestling. So she had a great pre-show, and then she went to the Revolution, which was a pay-per-view, and now she's going to do the post, and I'm looking forward to hearing that. Gas prices we'll cover next week because I think that deserves to be talked about. That's a little government politics, but
gas prices are higher right now than they were in I Am Legend. Just
I remember that was a thing. So right now it's at 8. That's ridiculous. Even in South Florida, it's regular is getting to $4.20. Premium is getting to $4.50. I kind of use a couple apps to get money back, like you should. My credit card gives me cash back, so I save a couple dollars here.
They went up like 20-30 cents overnight here in Jacksonville, so
that's wild.
Last a scooter.
Yeah, for real, right? Last few the combine, people running 40s hella quick. They are
X-Men, man, bro.
Talk about that real quick while I eat this edible that AP just handed me.
These kids, man, I don't know what it is, bro. Like in any sport nowadays, it must be like something in the food or whatever, but these dudes are fast, bro. Like not even just the receivers, like or the skill positions, like these O linemen, D linemen's running under 5-second 40s. That's crazy to me. Like you don't want to see that running at you full speed, and it's not even that. It's like the long jumps, the benching 225 like 50 times, like verticals. Like this shit is just crazy. Like these kids were made in the lab and they're in the lab. And honestly, I hope they all stay healthy because that's only better for us, only better for the sport, even though the NFL is a piece of shit kind of. But that's crazy. Like dudes running like 4.2s, like anything under 4.4, like a 4.4 is fast. But if you're running like a 4.35, 4.36, now these dudes are running 4.25s, 4.28s. Like, and the thing that's pissing me off is like I've never seen it where the unofficial and the official times are so spread apart.
Yeah, there's something going on with that.
So
There could be some collusion, some things that we don't know behind the scenes that people are trying to put it up and not make it as good or put it down.
Yeah.
There's got to be some
And
kind
then
of
supposedly you
kind of
can bet
coincidence.
on the combine now. So
That's lame. Like what the fuck are we
yeah.
doing? No wonder players are betting on shit. It's like you guys
Right.
can't have your cake and eat it too. Like shit's gonna
Yeah,
shit's gonna happen in excuse me, in a negative way.
Quarterback's throwing 70, 80 yards, flick of the wrist like it's nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Freak
nuts.
athletes we got here.
It's nuts. Yeah, it's good stuff. I hope, nothing but success for these kids, because that's some of them, that's all they know in their whole life. And it's a shame to say it, but some of them, it's probably one of the only things they're really good at, and they
True.
probably don't have a downfall or a backup plan. So mad success. I hope it all works out for them and they make millions and millions of dollars and do whatever they can.
Yeah. Absolutely. Coach K, last game at Cameron Indoors, or no, not Cameron Indoors. He had that recently, but then the last one at North Carolina, he cried. Boo-hoo.
Yeah, he told them all to shut up, and they got mad quiet real quick.
Yeah, whatever. I just wanted to mention that. I'm a UNC fan. I liked them since I was younger. Everything Michael Jordan, everything North Carolina. I was obsessed. So, Coach K, I'm over with it. Shout out B Wonder. He's a Duke fan, but fuck him at this point. And then the last one I had was my now new baseball team, because there's no baseball, no Yankees. I don't know what to do. Starting in mid-April, the FERRYHAWKS, which is the new Staten Island team. They were formerly the Staten Island Yankees, affiliated with the New York Yankees. They're no longer affiliated with the New York Yankees. They started their new debut inaugural season this season. I'm hype. I'm going to see my newborn nephew in the first week of May. He'll be due actually in the next 2 weeks. So nice. I'm excited about that. And I'm going to go watch. That's my baseball right now. Until the Yankees and baseball comes out, that's my team. Go FERRYHAWKS. Going to have gear. We'll tag you, retweet us, do whatever you got to do. Go fucking Hawks. Like
Jacksonville got a minor league team, so Jumbo Shrimp all day.
Jumbo Shrimp, goddamn.
Jumbo Shrimp, maybe. And supposedly got dollar beer night, so might be pulling up.
Ooh, that sounds like a cheap date for a lucky lady.
Listen, man. Listen.
No, man.
I'll let you play.
I'm over here spending $8 going out home and watching Netflix. I like that.
I like that.
Well, anyway, that's episode 12. We appreciate Tones coming on. Last minute, we'll have him on again. We'll love to talk more movie, cinema, conspiracy theories, aliens, all that good stuff. But, subscribe to us. I've been talking to a lot of people to subscribe on YouTube just to get that going. Like us, and also make sure you leave a review, whether it's Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Enter the Lab, episode 12. Elvis Escobar, Fort Sam. I appreciate you guys for listening and watching. Peace.
Peace.